Green Lantern Corps number 5 is written by Morgan Hampton and Jeremy Adams, with art by V. Ken Marion and Serge Acuna, colors by R.F. Prianto and Rain Barreto, hi-fi and Lee Luridge, and letters by Dave Sharp. The title of this issue is Getaway. Simon Baz and Keli Quintella are trapped inside of their own heads, trying to navigate a labyrinth made of their own worst memories before their time runs out. Only for some reason, their memories aren't quite right. Familiar scenes that we know from other comics are playing out with completely different dialogue, and the characters are just as confused as I am about the whole thing. At first I assumed that the maze itself was distorting their memories, since the same thing is happening to both Simon and Keli. But an important detail here is that Ellie Rose Stewart, the sentient construct of John Stewart's sister, is in there with them. Ellie projected herself into the mind maze to help Simon and Keli, so they can all work together to break free. That's significant because the nature of the trap is for Simon and Keli to each be forced to confront their own memories by themselves. And the only reason they're able to cross over is because Ellie Rose is literally opening doors that bypass all the barriers. And the more I think about it, the more sure I am that the inconsistencies with Simon's memories could be caused by Keli's memories bleeding over. Keli is reliving her origin story. A dying alien in a Green Lantern uniform just handed her the gauntlet. But unlike the first time, he's begging Keli to destroy it. He says it will kill her and destroy every living thing. When she picks it up, the gauntlet and the backpack it's connected to are big and bulky and gray, just like they looked in Young Justice number 9, where we originally saw Keli's origin play out. But as soon as they walk through the door to the next memory, the gauntlet and the backpack have changed. They look more like constructs now. It's the kind of thing that could be a coloring error, but I'm inclined to think that it's intentional, since we know that the gauntlet and backpack change form drastically between Keli's origin and the present day. We just don't know why. They enter one of Simon's memories, of the day his brother-in-law Nazir got into a car accident. This is the same person that Simon famously brought out of a coma through sheer force of will in issue number 16 of the New 52 run of Green Lantern. Only instead of being in a coma, the mind maze presents Nazir as being dead, and also significantly younger than he was when this actually happened. Then Nazir wakes up and starts strangling Simon, talking just like the alien from Keli's memory, declaring that he'll keep Simon and Keli from completing the maze, because then they'll die and the gauntlet will wither without a host. This is stating pretty clearly that the gauntlet is alive, and someone out there wants to make sure it dies before something terrible happens. Ellie Rose is finally able to open another doorway, and they escape into another of Keli's memories. This time, it's Keli's grandmother's hospital room. We actually saw this scene before in issue number 5 of the Jeffrey Thorne run of Green Lantern, when Yellow Lantern Jessica Cruz had to provoke one of Keli's fears in order to end her rampage on New Korugar. Keli has never forgiven herself for being gone when her grandmother was sick and dying. This was apparently right after she first got the gauntlet. Keli specifically says that the gauntlet guided her to Young Justice and then to Oa, making it sound like it has a mind and a will of its own, and would fit nicely with the chronic headaches we learned that Keli has been having a few issues ago in Green Lantern number 21. While Simon is trying and failing to help Keli in the face of this traumatic memory, Ellie Rose discovers something strange. A big, ominous door has appeared, and it's nothing like the doorways they've been using up to this point. Suddenly, Keli's grandmother sits up, and with an evil look on her face, explains that the door will only open for Keli. That all of the answers, the reason why the gauntlet chose Keli, can be found on the other side of that door. The thing wearing the face of Keli's grandmother promises her that Keli will be able to unlock her full, untapped potential, and even see her grandmother again for real. All she has to do is open the door. But it isn't so easy to manipulate the will of a Green Lantern, even one who's only 12 years old. Keli has to choose between the memory of the grandmother she's already lost, or Simon, who refuses with all his will to leave her behind. She goes with Simon, and says goodbye to the grandmother who she knows is already long gone. And the thing wearing her grandmother's face is seething with rage, as its eyes glow with a pair of Green Lantern symbols. Maybe this literally was the mind of the Gauntlet speaking to them through the image of Keli's grandmother. I just hope it doesn't turn out to be Krona or something. And who or what was it that was trying to make sure the Gauntlet withered away and died? That couldn't have just been a memory, it was actively trying to stop them from completing the Mind Maze. Ellie Rose finally manages to free them from the Mind Maze, and Simon punches out the shop owner who trapped them in the first place. By this point, the whole space station has descended into complete chaos thanks to Guy Gardner's ever-escalating confrontation with Evil Star. Guy Gardner and Narf are hiding from Evil Star in a bar, trying to lay low while Guy calls a cab so they can escape. Could they have simply flown away under their own power? Yes, easily, but it's more fun to involve Space Cabbie. I don't have any issues with that. I think it's perfectly fine to bend the logic of a scene if you're ignoring a practical solution in favor of a more entertaining one. I'm more put off by the fact that Guy Gardner, of all people, is running away from a fight, just because Evil Star has a really big gun. That's a weird choice to make, especially in a story that's apparently about Guy teaching Narf to overcome fear. So when Narf finally does something brave, and is explicitly motivated by Guy's own words from last issue, it all rings false to me. And oh hey, Snarf became Lion-O and beat the bad guy, who could have seen that coming? It's not super clear how Narf changed. It looks kinda like a werewolf-style transformation, but he's crackling with willpower energy when it happens. So I think this is him using his ring to will his body into a bigger, stronger state, kinda like the way Aricia willed herself to become an adult back in the 80s. They presented it as if Narf was undergoing personal character growth after taking Guy's words to heart, but it fell flat for me because it feels like we've only spent like 2 seconds with this character, and having him overcome a major personal obstacle is only going to matter if we have time to become interested and invested in him before he makes his big change. Anyway, Space Cabbie shows up to save Guy and Narf, and then they give Simon and Keli a ride back to Simon's construct car where Ellie Rose will be waiting for them. But unknown to them, Ellie is still poking around inside of Keli's mind, and is very concerned about that ominous door that only Keli can open. So yeah, very interesting, very ominous, very unbalanced issue. This whole Guy-Narf story didn't work for me at all. There's nothing wrong with a comic relief story, or even a whole character who's supposed to be comic relief. I just don't think any of this was all that funny, and I didn't buy into Narf's character journey since it was so fast. And I really wish we could have taken all the pages devoted to this story, and instead used them to flesh out Simon and Keli's experiences revisiting warped versions of their own memories, since that was way more interesting, and it left way too much potential on the table. And I know, they use this story to set up further exploration of Keli's past and her gauntlet that'll come later. But they still could have done that while giving us more to chew on now. I suppose I should look on the bright side. They're actually taking Keli's origin from Young Justice number 9, plus all of the inconsistencies with her character, and making a story out of all of it, which is great! And while I do wish we got more of that storyline faster, I'm fine with letting it be a slow burn. Though that would be a lot easier to take if we didn't also have to wade through an underwhelming B-plot. So that's Green Lantern Corps number 5. Now tell me what you think. What's really going on with Keli and the Gauntlet? Who were the forces speaking to them through their memories? Would you like to see Narf become a recurring character? Let me know in the comment section of this video. Subscribe to the channel if you want to make sure you get more videos like this one, and follow me on Blue Sky if you want to hear more of my thoughts on comics in general. I'll be back soon to talk about the next issue, but until then, thank you for taking the time to watch. My name is Dan, we'll talk again soon.